lifestyle of life. As yesterday said, I'm a lifestyle photographer. Sorry about my voice. I just woke up. I took a nap, so it's gonna take a little while before it adjusts. For this purpose.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, that's just a brief introduction about me. Should I go ahead or
Yes, please carry on. Carry on.
okay? How long do I have?
You have maximum of 40 minutes. So
Okay,
your session, you should talk
I'll
for like
make that.
30 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So
And if it's shorter, it's fine. It's fine if it's shorter.
yeah. So I'll just go right ahead. So um like I said, my name is ADEKOYA. Photography is what I do. You might be wondering what type of photography I do. Basically, I won't say every single kind of photography because there are some I really don't like. So I'm very choosy. I am more into lifestyle, weddings, events, birthdays. I dabble into portraits, dabble into product photography. I also dabble into what do you call it? Architectural for like photography. Yeah, and all this started as a result of one single gesture from an uncle of mine when I clocked 21 just some few years ago, so that I don't reveal my age. So I got my first phone. That was when phones came out, and my uncle just saw me. He had a used phone that he was using. He was based in the UK, or he's based in the UK. So he came to Nigeria, or I can't remember the details very well, but he sent me a phone, a Nokia 3650, if I remember very well. Right. And that was a phone that technically changed my life. So I got that phone, and the next thing I knew was everything around me became an object for capture. So I went ahead, if I see anything I like, I'll take it, whether it was fine or ugly, I didn't really care. I just had that drive to want to take as many pictures as I could back then. Then from there, I'm just giving you a history of how I started, then I'll go into the major questions quickly. Then from there, my family loves to do parties. So before you say 1+1 is 2, there's always a party happening somewhere. So anytime I get to the party and everybody's eating and drinking, they'll be like, "Oh, who is going to take our pictures?" And I'll be like, "Me," because that is all I just wanted to do. Take pictures. I wasn't bothered about the food, the drink. I just wanted to take pictures of people that were having fun and enjoying themselves. So my uncle then would give me a small camera, very tiny point of, they call it, I forgot what they call it, very tiny camera, and I'll just go around taking people eating, I'll be getting comments like, "Oh, don't take me while I'm eating, don't take me while the food is coming into my mouth," things like that. And I didn't care. I just kept on taking pictures, and the passion grew from there all the way till now. I mean, I'm still here to the glory of God. I'm still doing what I love to do, and it has been highly rewarding. Um, what I mean, really highly rewarding. By the grace of God, photography has taken me to places that I never imagined. I've traveled out of Nigeria, traveled to countries that I dreamt of as a child, just to capture weddings and events, and it's been a blessing. And this didn't stop me from getting my normal education. So I mean, by the grace of God, I went to secondary school, university, Unilag. I went even into the corporate world. um, After I finished university, I spent 7 years in the corporate world with KPMG and Ericsson, right, as an engineer. In the later years of my corporate, I've been in the corporate world. Then after then, I technically just felt that I needed to do something for myself. So I resigned. Many people thought it was a stupid decision for me to leave a multinational at a very young age, doing well, very well, and just decide to be a photographer. It didn't make sense, but I chose to follow my heart. I chose to follow my dreams. And 8 years now, this is not 8 years, sorry, 10 years after, I'm still following my dreams. I'm still following my heart, and I have no single regret whatsoever. Now, let me just go right um, to the questions that I had scribbled somewhere. Um, how do I use my photography skills to tell stories?
My
You
wife
know,
is off.
sorry, I was checking my WhatsApp to know what I was to talk to, what I was to discuss. So, like, I think this is meant to be me sharing my story and letting maybe parents, children know that um, it's okay to have a dream and to, you know, to go for it, right? It's very okay. Like I said, my uncle back then saw something in me that nobody else saw, right? And all he did was give me a fairly used phone. He didn't even tell me to take pictures. He just told me, just give me the phone, and I was like, oh, you'll find this interesting. And that was it. I ran with it. So if, from there I started telling stories. So anywhere I go to, right, the way photography has changed my life and, made me a better person. Anywhere I go to, it has made me to become more creative in my thinking, more analytical. So I can enter a room right now, and maybe within the next 5 minutes, my brain is thinking of how I'm going to rearrange that room, maybe in two or three different, play that 2 or 3 different ways in order to suit, you know, my own idea of creativity. So if I get into a room and I maybe see a window and I see a light, and I see lights coming from the window, it has, I start thinking of, okay, what can I do here? So it really helped to broaden my mind, so to say. And like I said, for me telling stories, for example, at birthdays or weddings, it's the easiest part of it because the day itself is like a story. I'll give you an example quickly. Weddings, the bride wakes up. So I pride myself to get into the wedding venue just about when the bride is just, starting her day, so that I can capture every single step of the way of when she wakes up to when she's doing her makeup to when she's emotional, because most brides get emotional about the day, anxiety, happiness, when she sees her friends, when she sees, her husband, when she goes to church, walks down the aisle. So I document all those things in a way that tells a story. So at the end of the day, my whole mind is already thinking of the end, even right from the beginning. And that's what photography does. Before it makes you proactive. Um, it makes you think ahead of every other person around you. So I could be in maybe at an event and I already know that maybe the MC is going to do something maybe in the next 5 minutes. My whole mind is already telling me to position myself in the right direction, in the right place, so I can capture that moment. So technically, we are like time travelers. We go ahead of people, right? And we position ourselves in the right places at the right time. So, and that's just photography. Now, what about life? Now, let me explain how this, let me bring this into physical life. So, this photography has helped me to be proactive when it comes to even life itself. Meaning, when I'm thinking of something or talking to someone, I'm looking at things not just in the face in the face value. I'm already thinking 2, 3 steps ahead of what if. The question in my mind is, what if plan A doesn't work? What does plan B have to tell me? What does plan C have to tell me? Because in a wedding industry, not you can't predict anything. anything can change. They can tell you there's no time for item 6, and they'll jump to item 9, and you have to be ready. So it has helped me to look at life in a way that, okay, for every situation I find myself, I'm already thinking of, okay, what if this doesn't work out? Okay, what if this works out and I need to still make one or two extra, moves or actions? Can I accommodate it? So my brain is always thinking. My brain is always thinking ahead, thinking forward. Like, okay, before a product comes out, or before maybe I get to a venue, or before maybe I give church, class, anything I'm doing, I'm already thinking, okay, is there going to be exam today? If there's exam today, am I ready for it? It's not a stressful way of thinking, honestly. It's just, that's why nothing really surprises me, because before they get there, I'm already there and I move past. And they'll be like, how did you know? I'm like, I just had a hint or a nudge, or, I just went with my gut. It's all, the development of the brain, right? Because as a photographer, you are meant to see what no other person sees. You are meant to, think ahead. Like while they're like, oh, where do we take this picture? You already thought of 3 other places. They're like, okay, so we're going to start here. From here, I'm going to take you there. From there, I'm going to take you there. And they're like, oh, how did you figure that right now that we're all just talking? I'm like, while you guys were talking, I was actually observing. I was analyzing. I was looking around me, right? I was already picturing, or like I was already like having a mental representation of you guys, and I was placing you guys in the spots I needed you guys to be. So it helps your mind, like it helps you have this kind of like, on the computer, we have something called print screen, like capture. You capture things in your mind and you place them where you want to place them, and you see if it's nice or not. And after which you're allowed to sorry, my video again. Yeah. After which you're allowed to go ahead with whatever you wanted to do. So for the young ones coming, like wondering if I want to do this, or maybe I have a skill, I have a talent. Will it be rewarding for me? Do I still need to go to school? How do I navigate this whole thing? Parents will be like, nothing must affect your education. I need you to stay in school and focus. My parents, since I was a child, they called me an engineer. They called me the engineer, because I used to break everything in the house. I'll be the one to carry screwdriver, open the radio, look at what is inside the radio. I have no idea, and I'll screw it back and I'll leave it. Whether the thing works or not, I don't care. So if anything, they plug it and it doesn't work, they'll be like, oh, they say to you, oh, did they be by? And I'm like, I tried to fix it back. It didn't work, meaning that you've come here again to touch this thing. So from there, at the end of the day, to the glory of God, I became an engineer. And I was like, okay, this is, to honor parents and everything. But what I really wanted to do, man, is photography. So my advice is simple. Education helps a lot. Get the education you want, wherever you find yourself doing, like education wise, do it and be excellent at it. I did not joke around in my studies. One, I was an A student to glory of God all the way till my university days, where Unilag showed me pepper left and right, but still, to the glory of God, I came out with a 2-1 in applied physics. That is not a small course to do. And still, to show you how I believe in education and how that we have to keep improving ourselves despite the passion we have. 16 years after I left Unilag, I enrolled for a master's program in engineering management. And to the glory of God, I finished that also with a merit. So we don't stop learning. We don't stop improving ourselves because we believe that we have a skill or we have a passion for something. Because I can promise you that the network, the business acumen, right? The things I learned in the corporate world while I was working as a corporate person has tremendously helped me in my own photography journey. I know how to talk to clients. Where my colleagues are struggling, I'm excelling because I took some time to study, to be in the corporate world, to learn how businesses are being run, to submit myself to a boss, right? And so that I can know how to also treat my proteges in the long run. So at the end of the day, after 7 years of corporate world, I already knew what type of, leader I want to be, right? I knew how I want to be treated, and I knew how I wanted to treat my clients. So that has also helped my journey. So my advice is get the education to the highest level. If you want to be a PhD, get the PhD, do anything you want to do. But along the side or along the way, make sure that your passion, your dream doesn't die. Because at the end of the day, the one that keeps you really happy is that passion and the dream. And that's the one that keeps you, running for life. I can be a photographer till I'm 90. Nobody really, nobody's going to stop me, right? But education, what do you call it, career-wise and everything, there's a limit, 65. They'll tell you that you have to retire and everything, but not with your passion, not with your dream. Your dream doesn't retire. It goes with you, when you're old and gone. So that's just my little story. Parents, please encourage your children to pursue whatever, yeah, I mean, if you find them doing something that you're like, okay, what is this one again? When did this one start? Just see if it's something that they enjoy doing and look for how, that thing can be commercial, right? And if it can be commercial, then create a strategy for them whereby they don't get consumed in focusing on that passion or that dream and forgetting their education. There has to be a balance, right? Make sure that they pursue, their education as well as maybe during holidays, they now pursue, developing skills in that dream or that passion, right? And this is just me speaking. I have colleagues in the industry, in the event industry. I know that all they do is just maybe makeup. All they do is just to play the saxophone. All they do is just to, do videos or just to even bake cake. I even have someone that all she does is just to make flowers, what they call it, bouquets for brides. Like, and I'm like, oh wow, that these are people that I know that when you see them, if you are wearing suits and you tell me that you are the deputy manager of one bank, and they'll look at you and they'll just smile because they have their time to themselves. They are their own bosses. They work when they want to work. And they have access to, you know, people, network, because they keep meeting people every day. As a corporate person, you are stuck with the same people in your office. But as an entrepreneur, I meet people. I mean, every single week I meet one new person. Every week, there's always one person that I'm like, oh, I just met this person. And those people, the way you treat them, they become part of your, your part of your crew. So that is how beautiful this journey is and can be for anybody that really applies themselves and has a strategy. Because at the end of the day, it's a win-win. You get the best of both worlds, right? The corporate world, you learn the skills, you develop yourself. The entrepreneurial world, you apply the skills you got from the corporate world into the entrepreneurial world, and you become a better person, you know, and all together. So that's just my little story. I hope I've been able to encourage a couple of people out there that there's really nothing wrong. There's not even really, there's nothing wrong in being an entrepreneur or catching them while they are young. And yeah, I forgot to mention, I um I mentor quite a lot of people as well with skills, not just photographers. Like if I notice something in you or I see something in you, I encourage you to go all the way, like all the way, but not forgetting education. I'm very strict on get an education. It gives you it puts you on a level whereby like people just look at you and they just see you differently in this world we live in. You tell someone that, oh, I have a master's, and they're like, why are you carrying a camera? And I'm like, doesn't make me less of a person. This is what I love doing. Like, yeah, but oh wow, you're a master's holder, like, and you're doing photography. I'm like, yes. I'm like, wow. Like in their mind, they're like, okay, this person, I should give this person the respect he deserves. Some people are just big on, they think that maybe every photographer, they are hungry, they are, wait and get. I mean, I've been embarrassed before, and I just smile, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's the ignorance of humans sometimes is amazing. I don't get angry. I just like, oh really? That's what you guys think of us, and it encourages me to want to even preach the gospel of, chase your dreams. Photography has God has used it to bless me in different dimensions. Like I said, I mean, I can't even start describing how blessed, photography has made me, or the people I've met, and the doors, the network that it has provided me with. But like I always say, you wouldn't know until you get there. So please, whoever is interested, either photography, videography, anything that has to do with your hands, creativity, drawing, modeling, fashion, anything that you have to, like, your hands, right? Please do it well, and it will reward you in the long run. Like, it is your retirement plan when you're old and gray. You'll still be making good money from it, and you'll still be happy about it. But don't forget, create a team, because the older you get, the more you need to leave a legacy. Create a team. Make sure you have people that you're mentoring that can carry on the fire, so that at the end of the day, you'll be better off just sitting down and all you'll be hearing is credit alerts and people just smiling and saying that, oh yeah, that they're happy that they met you and things like that. So that's my little story. I think my time is up. Yep, 30 minutes thereabouts, I think. And thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I hope I haven't spoken too much, but
No, you
yeah,
haven't.
that's where I draw the flag. So thanks, guys, for having me. If there are any questions, please, I'm here to still answer them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mayowa. Thank you.
You're
Um,
welcome.
so you've heard everything that Mayowa has said, and I know firsthand. I won't say I know his entire journey, but I know a bit, and it has been beautiful. Some of the things, one of the things that I took out, I took note of, that, and I think it's very important. I don't think I ever saw it that way. Is that no matter how talented you are, you should still get an education. You should still get an education. You should get some self development. You should develop yourself. So it's not just, oh, you're talented, you're talented. You can do this, oh, you can do that. No, it's more than that. You develop yourself. And that thing you said about having a master's and being a photographer, I can so relate. I have a master's degree and I'm teaching children as a fact. Yes, a lot of people can't even balance it. Like, what am I doing in that field? You know, so I can relate with that. But I understand what you're saying about that confidence because you have your education behind you. So if it's a case where your parents are insisting that you have to get your education, you must get educated. Oh, you get educated. But when you are done, you can choose to work or you can choose to pursue your passion. And the way my wife explained it, you can do both at the same time. You can have a job, you can pursue your passion. You understand? So it's I hope you learn from that. I hope you learn from that. That even if they
Yeah.
don't,
So
even if
sorry to cut
they're
you
not
short.
okay.
Yes, good shot. Something else. What you just said right now just brought about just reminded me of something. So,
Okay.
while I was in Ericsson, right, I was already doing my photography by the side. Weekends I go for my weddings, do my job. Monday to Friday I'm in the office, and after some time, right, the photography business grew so much that I couldn't really focus on my 8 to 5 anymore, and that's why I resigned because
Imagine.
the proceeds from the photography was even way more than my salary. And I was
Mm,
like, okay, why am I holding on to, the 8 to 5 job when I could as well just be my own boss and I'll still be okay. So you can juggle the two. And people ask you that, so when do you know when to drop one? Trust me, you will know. Because one
you
day
will
you
know.
wake up in the morning and you just be like, okay, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just going to face this and focus on it squarely. And that's it. Thank you. And
Mm.
sorry again to cut you short. I just want to chip that in.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Thank you for adding that. You just cemented what I was trying to say. So yeah, you have that. So as a parent, I mean, if you are concerned that, oh, can my child get an education and do something completely different from what they are doing? It's possible. Yes, it's possible. Like my wife said, it's possible. But it's always easier when if you try to go along the route that they are heading in. You understand? So imagine if, for example, someone like Mayowa had gone to have taken. Well, I don't know if anybody studies photography in the Nigerian. I don't know if any Nigerian university offers a course in photography. But just imagine if Mayowa had taken had studied photography in school. Just imagine how different that would have been, you know. So whatever the case, you study it, it's fine. You have a different career, you pursue your passion consecutively, it's fine, you know. So it's just to be you, be unapologetically you. Because there's something that he said that I wrote down. Your job, your career, and you get to a certain age, you can't work again. But your passion doesn't end. And your passion keeps you happy. Your passion keeps you fulfilled. If you have ever experienced fulfillment, you understand how important it is. So when people say fulfillment is more important than money, it will be as if it's a cliche. I feel like they don't know what they're saying. But it's true. Your passion will keep you happy. That gift, that talent that you may seem as if it doesn't seem to make any difference. I mean, why should you pursue it for your child? What if that's where they find happiness and you decide to steer them in a different direction? See. Well, I hope you have learned that. I hope you have learned a lot. Thank you so much, MAYOWA. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my
Okay,
pleasure.
so
It's good to be here. Thank you.
thank you again. So basically, we're done with today's session.